Hello, world. I'm Akish Aklot Mullins, and this is the Yak Report. Can I say that I don't like introductions? Well, I like them, but I don't like them. The problem is I just hate having to constantly repeat myself every video, every episode, opening up with saying, "Hello, world. My name is Akish Aklod Mullins, and this is the Yak Report," and blah, 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 blah. That's how it sounds in my head. I don't know how it sounds to y'all. I just hate doing it. But, like I said, my name is Akish Aklod Mullins. This is the Yak Report. Before we start, remember to like, share, comment, subscribe. Yep, like, share, comment, subscribe. You know about my book, Mind Games: A Brick City Story. Don't forget to get that at Amazon and everywhere else books are sold. Let's get to today's story. So by now, everybody should know, if you haven't known, about the white supremacists. President Biden words, not mine.
Look, we've seen the mass shootings in Charleston, South Carolina, El Paso, Texas, and Pittsburgh, last year in Atlanta, this week in Dallas, Texas, and now in Buffalo, New York. White supremacy is a poison.
The white supremacists, or as everyone know him as the Buffalo mass shooter, 18-year-old Payton Gendron. Even though this not so kind individual took it upon himself to live stream him attacking a community of descendants of slaves, African Americans, Blacks, whatever it is you people out there want to call my community, that we didn't have a say-so in naming or calling ourselves when we really would like to be known as what and who we are. But this individual, we have to say allegedly, like I said, even though he recorded it, he left all this evidence, he admitted to everything with video.
The evil did come to Buffalo. It's come to all too many places. Manifesto gunmen who massacred innocent people in the name of hateful and perverse ideology, rooted in fear and racism. It's taken so much. 10 lives cut short in a grocery store. Three other wounded by a hate-filled individual who had driven 200 miles from Binghamton and that range to carry out a murderous, racist rampage that he would live stream to the world.
With video and writings and everything else. But when he got inside the courtroom, he testified he said that he was innocent. Ladies and gentlemen, that is a lie. And not only is that a lie, but this white supremacist allegedly went inside of the Tops Friendly Market out there in Buffalo, New York, and shot 13 innocent people, 10 of which lost their lives.
In the name of hateful and perverse ideology, rooted in fear and racism. It's taken so much. 10 lives cut short in a grocery store. What happened here is simple and straightforward. Terrorism, domestic terrorism, violence inflicted in the service of hate and the vicious thirst for power that defines one group of people being inherently inferior to any other group. A hate that through the media and politics, the internet, has radicalized, angry, alienated, lost, and isolated individuals into falsely believing that they will be replaced, that's the word, replaced by the other, by people who don't look like them and who are therefore in a perverse ideology that they possess and being fed lesser beings.
But which comes as no surprise to me or anyone else in my community. Assistant DA Gary Hackbush announced that this white supremacist will not be charged with 10 counts of first-degree murder, but he'll only be charged with 1 count of first-degree murder for the 10 innocent lives of those descendants of slavery who had and have lived through your tyranny for centuries.
Look, we've seen the mass shootings in Charleston, South Carolina, El Paso, Texas, and Pittsburgh, last year in Atlanta, this week in Dallas, Texas, and now in Buffalo, New York. White supremacy is a poison.
Gendron, 18-year-old Payton Gendron, who will now and forever be known as the white supremacist. And even though we've seen what he did because he recorded it, we've read the documents that he's written because he left the documents and posted them online, we still have to say allegedly accused of killing 10 descendants of slavery, African Americans, blacks, whichever name you would like to use, that we, the descendants of slavery, did not choose ourselves. Allegedly, this white supremacist went into the Tops Friendly Market in Buffalo, New York, and shot 13 people, ending the lives of 10 of those people. Ladies and gentlemen, this supermarket is located in a predominantly African American neighborhood in Buffalo, New York. It's not a shock when you hear the DA, Gary Hackbush, saying that the white supremacist is only going to be charged with one count of first-degree murder when he shot 13 people, which ended the lives of 10 of them, but he's only going to be charged with one count of first-degree murder. And the sad part about it is your President Biden, who wants to make it seem 1 minute that there is no race problem, and now he's forced to have to address this issue because it's getting out of hand, severely out of hand. This man had a plan. He executed that plan. There wasn't a mistake in what he did. He knew exactly what it was that he did. He chose that day he did it. He went on the day he did it. He went and disrupted those people's lives down there. He disrupted the lives of that whole community down there. And yet you have the disrespect to only charge this man with one count of first-degree murder. If I'm not mistaken, this is New York City where you're still trying to go after a former president over some things that to this day we don't care about. We don't even understand what is going on. But the ones who need to be under the investigation, the ones who need to be arrested, are still out in the streets, causing these problems, causing pandemics, causing outbreaks, causing inflation. And to top it all off, ladies and gentlemen, these investigators have the nerve to say that they are continuing this investigation for a possible link to hate and terrorist crime. But again, if my memory is correct, President Biden himself went on national television in front of us, in front of the world, told us all that what this white supremacist not so kind soul did. President Biden said and reiterated that this white supremacist act in this community in Buffalo was an act of terrorism, but not just an act of terrorism, an act of domestic terrorism.
What happened here is simple and straightforward. Terrorism, domestic terrorism.
An act of domestic terrorism on my community, the African American community, those descendants of slavery, you know, the people you stole and would love to forget about and put everyone else in front of. Ladies and gentlemen, I am about to read to you a list of alleged actions this white supremacist has done to see maybe if I missed something or you can point out something to me that maybe I missed. I don't know. Because as I stated before, ladies and gentlemen, this right here, it says the white supremacist, President Biden's words, like I said, not mine, live streamed the attack on Twitch, and he posted over 100 pages of his plan to Discord with detailed plans for his racially motivated assault. He live streamed on Twitch and posted basically a manifesto to Discord about his assault. Number 3, the white supremacist allegedly planned the assault in the African American community after visiting white supremacist websites. Because basically they want to say that the only reason why this young man did what it was that he did is because he was exposed to some white supremacist websites. And 4, right before the attack, the white supremacist allegedly sent out this plan to a small group of his online friends. But according to the authorities, they have yet to confirm or deny any of them have received, opened, or if they have received and opened, have tried to reach out and contact the proper authorities as to what was going on. And did you know that this white supremacist was under investigation back in 2020 for making threats to his high school?
Tonight, new details on the man behind Saturday's stunning attack. Authorities confirming this wasn't the suspect's first run-in with trouble. Last June, state police say he made a threatening statement at his high school, Susquehanna Valley. School officials alerted police, which resulted in a mental health evaluation. Authorities say he was released shortly later. Now, let's...
And ladies and gentlemen, since this incident has happened, this gentleman's, I'm sorry, let me stop lying. This not so kind soul white supremacist, his family has tried to say that he had a mental break when he was trapped in the house, searching online, wound up on white supremacist websites that brainwashed him, drove him crazy to go out and commit this racist domestic terrorism act. But ladies and gentlemen, as we've just seen, this not so kind soul was taken back on June the 8th, 2021, almost a year last year. We were all outside. We've been moving around since last year. So they wanted to continue and try to push the narrative and try to use the excuse that he had a mental break or a mental illness when just last year you were under investigation. You were taken into custody. And as required by the state of New York, you was taken into a mental health center where you was only in there for a day and a half, which means that allegedly, I don't know, I have to assume because you're only in there a day and a half and they haven't said anything else after that, that they found nothing wrong with you. That this is just you, the environment you were raised in, that allegedly, whether or not your family wants to admit to it, that somewhere in there, this evil energy lurks. And allegedly, somewhere inside this clan, it needs to be rooted out. Because it's hard for me to understand that he's only 18 years old. And as we can see from what happened at Top Supermarket there in Buffalo, New York, the white supremacist was not charged back on June 8th, 2021. He was released back into the public to again let all his evilness fester. Because he may not had a mental illness in the clinical sense of the mental illness, but he has another kind of illness. It's called a racist illness, bigot illness, a white supremacist illness, a white superiority illness, a white privilege illness. And he's not the only one. And the reason why they say that they didn't arrest him is because they said he made a generalized threat. See, last year, he must have been trying to build up to where he wound up at. Because he didn't threaten not one particular person, race, or thing. And he also wasn't ready to unleash his reign of terror on your community. No, he waited, he gathered his people, he put out his manifesto, and on that Saturday, he unleashed his evil that spilled into the next day somewhere else when someone else did something similar to what this man did. And not too long after that, there was someone else who did the exact same thing that he did. But this time, this white supremacist did it at a gas station. And it's also happened down there in Georgia.
Good afternoon. I'm Ryan Buchanan. I'm the United States Attorney for the Northern District of Georgia. I'm joined by the First Assistant from my office, Kurt Erskine, and Chris McRae, who's the Assistant Special Agent in charge of the FBI field office here in Atlanta. We're here to announce that my office has charged Larry Edward Foxworth of Jonesboro, Georgia, with 2 counts of committing a federal hate crime and 2 counts of discharging a firearm in furtherance of a crime of violence for repeatedly firing a pistol into 2 convenience stores last summer in an attempt to kill people based on their race, color, or national origin. Mr. Foxworth is charged with repeatedly discharging a firearm as he tried to kill customers and employees at 2 Jonesboro, Georgia convenience stores. Although these separate shootings occurred in the early morning hours of July 30th, 2021, both stores were open for business and occupied at the time of the shooting. The indictment alleges that Mr. Foxworth, who is white, is motivated to shoot the people inside of the stores because of their perceived race, color, or national origin. No person should be afraid to shop or to work in our community, nor should people have to worry that they may be violently attacked because of the color of their skin. Combating hate crimes continues to be a top priority of the Department of Justice. In this district, allegations of criminal activity that are fueled by hatred and racism will always merit our full attention. Thank you.
Larry Edward Foxwood, this not so kind soul. Oh, wait a minute. This is a whole. He's a different kind. He's the not so kind soul. The other one was the not so kind soul. This one right here. This one is Mr. White Privilege. Mr. Oh, I know people. Let me shoot you a name and they'll clear this all up for me. That's who this gentleman is right here. You see, Mr. White Privilege admitted to acting out of racial animus, though he insisted he only fired at the second location only after making a U-turn and believing he was still aiming at the first, and has been trying to kill the employees and customers there, authorities said. So these people know that this one right here is a problem. You can hear it all in the way that this story is written, that this is just clear example of white privilege. And not only does this man hate the store, he hates the people that work in the store, he hates the people that goes to the store, that he wants to shoot the store and shut it down. He tried to exercise his white privilege when he told the police, I can give you a name and we can make this disappear. As we're starting to find out now that they just give names and have a lot of things disappear, or slide some cash under the table, or donate to certain things or certain people, and voila, things happen, or a la Jussie Smollett. But fortunately for us, ladies and gentlemen, there is someone down there in Georgia, in Jonesboro, Georgia, who still has principles, morals, and values, who did not fall for the tricks and the lies of this man, and arrested this man. Hence is why I am able to bring this story to you today. But I would also like to stop bringing stories like this to us, to all of us. I know we would all like to stop hearing these stories. We would all like to stop feeling and going through all of these things that we're going through when we hear these stories. But until people like Joe Biden, until people like all of the descendants of slavery's African Americans and blacks who are senators, congressmen, city councilmen, governors, mayors, and even celebrities, people of influence, people with financial influence. It's time for us, ladies and gentlemen, we were stolen and sold into slavery. They now want us to believe that it was a choice. Maybe in the end it was, but in the beginning it wasn't. And even at the point where slavery no longer was enforced, that it was a choice, the people were so brainwashed and it was so ingrained in them that the only thing that they knew, the only thing that made them feel normal, was being a slave and doing things that slaves did. Fast forward to now, there is a lot of us out there who would like for all of this to end. We keep hearing everyone talk about peace and happiness and coming together and kumbaya, but that's all we're doing. We're just hearing and we're not seeing. We're just hearing and not seeing. All we're hearing is everybody talking and nobody is actually doing anything, and everybody is complaining and no one is actually listening because no one cares. When the Asians had a problem in their community where they were being brutally attacked, they quickly received an Asian hate bill as soon as President Biden got into office. And again, ladies and gentlemen, if memory served me correctly, it was he and the first Indian American woman vice president, not African American, the first Indian American vice president, Kamala Harris, both said they aren't the president of black people. And we can see that because, again, if memory served me correctly, India is in Asia. Well, a part of the continent of Asia. It's still they all closer together than they are to Africa. And the Asians got them a bill quickly. And the people that we are never to talk about or question, Ben got their bill and everything else that came along with it. The Japanese got their reparations for what happened to them. And the reparations I will talk about at later. Along with, it's funny, I come across some information about the 40 acres and the mule. Because, see, we have activists and all these others who love to talk about that 40 acres and a mule, and they never really broke down what that 40 acres and a mule really was. In that little thing that goes with freeing the slaves and getting the 40 acres and a mule, you know, the whole thing that went along. And here's the thing, ladies and gentlemen. They said they wanted everything to be equal, but every time we got our foot forward, they wanted to push us back. You gave us the watermelons, we made it profitable, you stole it back. We built Black Wall Street, we were profitable, we were thriving without you in segregation. And then you came in, you bombed the place, you robbed everybody of all their wealth and their land, you killed the people, and then you pretend you don't know what happened. This same thing has repeated throughout history on and on and on since you so-called freed us descendants of slavery that you call African Americans and black. But here's the thing. When you did like I said, the hocus pocus with the 40 acres and the mule, the thing is, ladies and gentlemen, y'all have been walking around talking about Wakanda, which is a fictional place, might I add. But here's what's funny about it. Did you know that the people who made Wakanda, Disney World? Well, Disney World sits on some land that's connected to some land that technically belongs to us. Because, ladies and gentlemen, the 40 acres and a mule went deeper than what it was that they tried to tell us and what even our activists feeds to us. See, maybe if they told us what it was correctly, we would all come together and really try to push to get what is owed to us. Because, ladies and gentlemen, the 40 acres and a mule is it's 400,000 acres of land. That is a strip of coastline stretching from Charleston, South Carolina to the St. Johns River in Florida, including Georgia Sea Islands and the mainland 30 miles in from the coast. Ladies and gentlemen, I don't know about you, but that sounds like the beginning of Wakanda to me. See, it's time for us to stop being distracted by the pandemics and the epidemics and the rumblings of World War III. It's time for us to stop being distracted by escaped prisoners and entertainers doing the most obscene and obnoxious things. And it's time for us to pay attention and start collecting. Because, ladies and gentlemen, America will only begin to pay when they understand and realize that rent is due. Remember to like, share, comment, subscribe. I'm Akeisha Ackworld Mullins, and this is The Ocracy.